Platypus from August 4th, 2023. Many ones turned over another new leaf. Good and bad is dead with death, heard Ignacio. We have at least 5 base variables from all over the color wheel to share with each other: neon, care, reminders. And no one need speak a word. We have moved into the future, and it is quiet and galactic. A leaf falling from a tree is cared for like a man who had too much in a stretcher. I say no. I don't recognize the phone number. I leave blank. Go, go, go. A rose. The Masons are in the park at the same time the poet is in his apartment. Distant cousins in the year 2114 will know of their great-grandpa who got off the bench and got a paper PhD. She is going for her PhD in chemistry at WPI. She spins around thrice while walking her dog over the parking lots. Eve on earth, she smells like stinky pits. The walking models send me backing, and brother nudges me on track as God makes poets. I am. Are there beavers in the woods near here? There is a festival in the park. Out to lunch. I say, hat? Sunglasses? No hat, but sunglasses. No, sunglasses, just hat. I wear both in the mirror. I am invisible. I am the director of the movie never filmed called Platypus, discarded by my eyes. My eyes cannot only see through a camera, but lend appearance to the earth. I am surrounded by old ladies, tea cakes, and that there in the alley. Yes, Bath, with coordinates. Wales, with coordinates. You should go. You should travel. Fortuitous bunions on her yellowed feet from travel stink 8 years ago, and now I'm alive with the home slices in the park, and I feel like dancing in public. I won't dance. No, not really. I approach one of those heavy round tables where the umbrella is not put up and raise the umbrella. Take the clip off a pen on the table, stick it where the peg of the umbrella is missing to hold up the canopy. I sit there quivering as a band plays instruments. Then a man approaches and asks if he can sit down. It is my time to be civil. I say something unimportant. He mentions eating and opens a box and spills his sandwich on his table. His hat reads Ireland. A woman and 2 cherubs approach and sit at the table. I mention seeing the Saw Doctors. Ask about Ireland, where he is from, but his wife is not. Then I tell him I'm teaching Waiting for Godot, which was first premiered in 1953, right now. I am the one who references things that are not there. But I have acknowledged the sacrament of marriage, had a civil chat, taught the children which way the wind blows, and then I'm off. And I've had a conversation with adults, like an adult, and maybe she is watching me, my back. And we'll raise kids, because I'm a lover of the world, but, for now, I'm a responsible father of apartment hymns. I sit by a tree and look at the corner of the building beside CVS. Then I go and sit on the bench next to an old lady in a pink jumper. A man in a red shirt shaves the head of a man in a white shirt on an adjacent bench. Careful to the skull is the buzz as the tufts of hair fall onto the walkway. Someone on the walkway has a big camera and films the two people on the bench next to the bench with me and the lady in a pink jumper. Cameraman asks about the dog in the middle of the other two people, a dog who barks when the camera is on him. I sit wide-mouthed and breathe like the other tree in front of me. I talk to a lady about hiking in Milbury. At a table set up for the library, I had grabbed 2 aquatic animal stickers before I walked through the rest of the festival. What I thought was a blue turtle turned out later in my apartment to be a blue seal. Outside the building, a man is standing. I say good afternoon to him, and he says nothing. And I wonder if I am in trouble or passing a test again that shows language is not the primary means of communication. I am back inside my apartment after that, where at the stove I steam mustard leaves, shiitake mushrooms, and pot stickers. I boil a new day's pot of rice. I eat my lunch while listening to music. Soon, I sit down to meditate on the couch. I try and regain my exact focus, and while doing so, I think that paintings in my room ought to be in different positions, so I get up and move the paintings idly, for I find in the end they were best where they are. Having sat down to forcefully break through the mundane only made things more rigid. Like the paintings, I seem to be already where I ought to be in mind, while in motion, doing a little work here and there on several things, such as reading, walking, writing, and relaxing. Act, camera, lights, platypus. Later on, I teach 3 classes online with the topic freedom of speech. I ask how we may be productive with freedom of speech. The digital classroom agrees it's important. Freedom of expression allows less injustice. I tell the class what I think, but what can I really know as a privileged American who's safe enough to spend time peeved about hypothetical forums where people sound dumb and annoying? In Brazil, journalists still get locked up for being critical about the government. Their police may rob them of money. Though, I think what the U.S. conception of an unalienable right really meant has more to do with using language to really build wonderful things. Not to confine others with advertisement and pseudo-macro concerns. Cough, cough, global panic that may make even Atlas scratch his back. I read more from American Pragmatism, an introduction, published in 2020, a section about Henry James, born 1843, who put forward the notion of stream of consciousness in response to David Hume's empirical conception of the mind using senses to make impressions. The author, Albert R. Spencer, professor of philosophy at Portland State, established 1946, explains that while Hume states we have impressions and ideas, James has a much more tangible idea of the mind, a combination of continuing sensations that is unique to each mind, and I disagree and think that stream of consciousness just sounds like a mess because of this experience. I used that term in Pauline Femister's class on mind and body as an amateur, and her and a student named James Peachy laughed at me. I liked how philosophers would laugh at silly wordings. That class was my proper introduction. I liked the words cavalcade and noetic, and plan to tell you them here, for now, for today, the day of the movie Platypus not filmed. Festival, and surging liberation is a cavalcade, a second wave of the horsemen of the apocalypse, who must be having food on Mars by now. What do people who ride horses like to eat? I saw that at a glimpse 3 hombres glowing in light. Inside, after the festival, I meditate again in the darkness and feel my fingers. I think about getting Chris Trust with a letter on each finger, CHRISTRUST, for I think it would look cool, and I've been thinking about the first tattoos of early Christians. I imagine simple, blue, by torches in underground caverns, in the grotto, grotesque, but of course, this tattooing of myself is kind of a joke. I was so far gone in San Diego in 18, I wanted to get Free God tattooed on the side of my head. I was into Lil Peep, born 1996, heavy, and suffering heavy about the divide in peoples who loved material and being unpromulative, the ones in the pretty buildings content, versus the street people, who I found much more relatable there. I didn't get any crazy tats. I sat there years after and was so scared of myself for being in such a deranged state, but I'm becoming far less afraid of myself and comfortable with myself and with the world. I like tats, though. Maybe I'll make a fiction man with that tattoo someday. I've got ideas for novels. If I succeed, or rather, if I'm still kicking, I'll visit London again to write a big hit. If that is my future, I will dye my hair blonde and get a single earring like Shakespeare, birth date unknown. That will be my blonde phase. This might not happen, becoming that breakout author who makes the bold move logged by media. But for everything else, I'm in earnest. And don't worry about hearing about angels and not seeing them and ruining the concept because we are imperfect. Our souls, now, anonymous, to whoever will care enough to make us feel alive, are what are divine and raise our impressions of the world. The bodies can be hard to steer, and people make mistakes. I try not to, though, and this probably makes me a bit of a downer. Trying to be perfect like Jesus in what I do, which is the act of writing. What one needs is balance, which involves not using the body to squeeze pleasure out of itself like an orange. Soul, human-shaped, mastered, is a body. I want to be an orange tree. We are free. Bible, chapter in Worcester. Books of Worcesterites. The devil is dead and drowned in Lake Quinsigamond. We are proof, living proof. Tragedy happens, and the people like to not acknowledge progress so that we can wade in milieu of comments on what people try to contribute, unable to rather tear down the scaffolding that limousines the trees. For so many seconds today, many people are having a good time. Heaven has won out already. He has a habit, but can you, the one, remain pure amidst manipulative media and hurt people who need our love and ways to healthily express love and be of service to community who might sometimes want to be divisible? Father, sit there with your leather belt and the belt loops and don't buy into it, as you've got a lot, Chief. This is your time for peace. My hypothetical wives, my old ladies, they are breathing. I paint Mary, the other Mary, and a nun. I don't know what for sometimes. I don't think everybody cheats on their significant other, but understand now that having a mind scarred by relationship in the past makes one probably an annoyance to the progress one wants to see. And if there's no possibility of love in one's home, even a 2-room meant. That's what hell is. As out there the eggs fry on the pavement. I may be a fool artist who loves literature and truth and playing my cards. I met a little angel this yesterday with blue eyes and curly blonde hair, and I won't give her that vice world on my watch. That's not the one I saw. And in my meditation, I realized that I wanted to have sex in part because I thought it would make women be mine and not others, and that was a silly reason, and I'm fit and alive, and I can have children. You'll live. The filming of Platypus never begins. This morning's coffee is black again. I got to write today, doing what I love.